Hello, welcome into Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Alvari,
Hey, I'm Quincy Carr.
and we are missing Miss Cheryl Nelson today, unfortunately, but hoping to get her back next week. But
Yeah.
Quincy, big time for football fans because the Super Bowl is here, and believe it or not, the Bengals are in it. They're taking on the Rams. You're a Cowboys fan. Who do you like in this?
First of all, why would you even open the wound again? It hurt. I think personally, the Cowboys' loss is what changed the whole NFC picture around. I'll just be
Okay.
completely honest. But it led to Tom Brady eventually retiring. It was because of us, okay? Because had he played us, he would have beat us probably and been in the Super Bowl again.
Yeah. Well,
Who knows?
well, we're gonna
Yeah.
have a winner soon. We're gonna have a winner soon, and we're gonna continue to cover Black History Month in this show as well, which is interesting, and it also ties into some of the NFL news this week.
Yeah, that is true. I believe it was what Brian
Flores,
Flores,
yeah.
yeah, of the Miami Dolphins. Like he's filing a lawsuit, and and I look at the NFL like when the whole thing happened in 2020, and they said we're going to have more diversity and inclusion, and it always sounds like it's talk for the time, and then when it really comes down to it, you still see the stuff is still happening. So that's it's a very important thing that we stay on top of that and continue to
Address.
address it, but
Yeah.
also like speak it and breathe it and live it and not just do it because it sounds right for the moment. That's my message to the NFL.
Yeah, not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Like we can see what's going on here. We have eyes. So
Yeah.
it is a lot going on. And I think Tom Brady retiring was just about the cherry on top of everything and all the chaos with that. Because it
Yeah.
seemed like he's retiring, he's not. And so now I'm ready for a calm Super Bowl. Just kidding. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It definitely should be, but we'll have a calm and we'll have a great show that we have ahead, including a baby shower for animals, and we have some solid financial and mortgage advice from the experts.
Some experts. Love to have that on and always looking to save some money. We're also going to get to meet some really inspiring individuals to help continue our coverage of Black History Month. A really exciting packages coming up on that. And also, let's kick that off by exploring some Black History Month murals. These artists are incredible. We're going to show you some great art and lots of fun today coming up right here on Main Street Living. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quincy, art and especially public art can be such a powerful tool for bringing our communities together.
That's right. And what's cool is that our next guest is making Main Street art with Black History Month murals. Now, in 2021, she tackled buildings in downtown Phoenix, and this year she's taken on Los Angeles, Dallas, and Atlanta. Wow, let's welcome Gizette Knight of the Shining Light Foundation. Welcome to the show, Gizette.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. I have to get started with this question. I mean, like, what sparked the idea to do murals in downtown Phoenix?
Okay, well, originally I was a part of the Black Lives Matter movement, and so I organized a lot of marches. And we saw that the momentum was dying down. So I, just said to myself, what can I do to keep the momentum going? So I decided to do the Black Lives Matter street mural because I saw it in DC and it was happening in New York, where I'm originally from. And so when I did the presentation to, some of the city council members, they were excited about it. And then when it came time to vote on it, it was denied. And so some of the community members came to me and said, hey, our kids need to see representation of themselves. What can we do? And that's when I decided to paint 28 murals representing the 28 days in Black History Month.
Wow, nice. Nice.
And so how do these murals kind of tie in with the Shining Light Foundation?
Well, what we do is bring resources to marginalized communities. So when you talk about history not being taught or the lack of Black history being taught in schools, that was an opportunity for us to step in.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
And history is extremely important, especially what gets cut out, for students to learn. And this year, you've expanded the project to include Los Angeles, Phoenix, Dallas, and Atlanta, as I mentioned earlier. Tell us about the expansion and how you selected those cities.
This year we received funding from Microsoft, so I'm grateful for that. And what happened was when we was doing the research on this, a couple of us, because I have a team, so a couple of us were wondering what other cities are facing, the lack of Black history being taught, not just in the schools, but around the communities. So we reached out to Dallas, specifically Terry Flowers, Dr. Terry Flowers, who's the headmaster for St. Philip's St. Philip's School and Community Center. And so he got us in contact with Dallas Independent School District, and they loved it. And then I went to an educational seminar in Atlanta, and the educators down there loved it, and they got me in contact with the Compton Unified School District, and that's just how it happened.
Nice. All it takes is just one step, and it brings you a step closer to accomplishing something. That's cool.
But something else that's really cool too is that the murals have gone high tech. So what can you tell us about these QR codes and how they work?
Yeah, so we wanted it to be more educational, right? So we wanted to incorporate educational aspect, because before we were having the people come to the murals and doing research on their own. So we wanted to see how can we touch different people or get people involved with the murals and become educated. So we decided to team up with school districts, have the students write essays on the figures. So it's 85 figures in total in each city. And we're going to take the essays, attach them via QR code to the mural. So let's just say somebody doesn't know who Dr. Charles Drew is. They go up to the mural, they hover their phone over the QR code, and a little essay from the student will pop up, giving them some information about Dr. Charles Drew.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you're talking technology, you're talking increasing the level of education, this project, and then you're expanding to so many cities. So, Gizette, how would you like the project to grow even more?
I want to definitely go in more cities, right? I want to get the students involved. But one of the things I'm really passionate about is I want to get the students that's participating, I want to get them scholarships to HBCUs. So that's my goal for next year, is to get enough funding so we could give those students that participated scholarships to HBCU school of their choice. And so that's basically the goal for next year, expand and get these scholarships for these kids.
Well,
Nice.
So of course we want to ask you how we can help you with that goal. So how can people reach out to you about this project if they want to donate or help in some other way?
They could definitely go to the website, which is www.shining-light.org, or they could go to our social media, which is Shining Light FND, and they could donate or send us an email. Let's collaborate on a project. If you want to do a mural crawl, we're down for that.
Yeah. So before we let you go, can you share one of your most memorable murals that you did and in what city?
Yeah, or your favorite?
Let's see. I think my favorite is the Malcolm X mural that's on Carly's Bistro. That's a huge mural. I would have to say is maybe 14 feet by maybe 36 feet. And you're talking about maybe, I would say 10 feet pictures of Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, and Huey P. Newton. So that's my favorite, because you see Malcolm there and he's just staring at you, and same thing with the other two. It's just beautiful the way it comes to life. These artists did an amazing job. So I'm really grateful for them.
Well, you're definitely doing an amazing job there, Gizette Knight. So you continue. There's your information again for our viewers to help support you and connect with you. You continue to do great things in the community, and we appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Well, Danielle, we can definitely ask our viewers to stick around, because up next, there's a baby shower for wildlife. Okay, I guess we'll see this come to life after the break. Stay right there. Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Danielle, unlike where you live, okay, here in Virginia, it feels like we're in the dead of winter, okay? But in some parts of the country, spring is already on its way, and when spring arrives, so do baby animals.
Oh, the cutest. And yes, it is still cold here, Quincy. It's just, this is why I live in California. But we're welcoming back to the show Dr. Gary Weitzman with the San Diego Humane Society. He's here with some tips for how we can peacefully coexist with our wild neighbors and also offer a helping hand if needed. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Gary Weitzman.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's always good to talk with you.
Hey, likewise.
So the San Diego Humane Society is holding a wildlife baby shower. What is that exactly?
Yeah, it's not exactly the typical function hall event where you bring gifts in pink or blue. We have it every spring or just before spring, winter now, and it's the opening of our baby season. Well, it's really nature's baby season, which happens in the spring for all of the wildlife that we see out about us. Mostly in the winter, even here in Southern California, we don't have a lot of animals making babies, which is really good. So we get a break. But right now we're bracing for probably 13 to 14,000 animals to come into our wildlife center here in San Diego.
Wow. So now I understand where spring chicken comes from, right?
Yeah, I know. And spring hummingbird and spring fox and spring raccoon. Yeah,
Right.
I think they far outnumber the chickens, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, Gary, what kinds of animal babies do you usually see in the spring, and what are some of the things to keep in mind if you find a baby animal that you think may need some help?
Yeah, really, really, the best question is right there in the second part of what you asked. We see everything here at San Diego Humane Society. We have a department called Project Wildlife, and we do see 13 to 14, even 15,000 wild animals that are either hurt, injured, or abandoned and orphaned. So we get them in droves, literally. The most common animal that we see are passerine birds, and those are the songbirds that really are the harbingers of spring for all of us. That's part of what makes the world so fantastic. But these guys are plentiful, and they actually do really well when we don't intervene. So the biggest message that we want to get across is if you see a bird on the ground and that bird doesn't have any visible signs of injury, no broken wing, no broken bones that you can see, is moving around, maybe not flying yet, when we get into that spring, that's a fledgling. So we just advise people, just watch that bird. Don't grab that bird and put it in a box with a towel and rush to your veterinarian or your neighborhood wildlife rehabber. That bird is learning how to fly. And that's the thing that we all struggle with. We get so many of those. I bet we get probably a quarter of the animals we get of those 13, 14,000. If they had been left alone, they would have done absolutely fine.
Wow. Well, that's very relatable for us all. I think when we're trying to do something new, it looks like we're, dying. So just let them learn.
Yeah, and it's so hard. I mean, Danielle, isn't it? It's so hard when you see a wild animal outside and you don't see it in its normal, activities, like a bird flying or running away or any of that stuff. You panic. It's a day ruiner to me because I know that bird might be injured. Now, once I know that bird's not injured, I'm just going to watch it. So that's what we want people to do. Watch that bird, keep it away from predators and crows and cats and everything else, and just watch that bird for a while. But that bird's going to be safe and it'll actually fly away. And the parents are probably in that tree nearby watching and taking care of their fledgling before he or she learns how to fly. So most birds don't fly from the nest. And thank God they're not hang gliders. They don't just go to the cliff and take off. They learn to fly from the ground. Almost all birds do that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, actually. That's really interesting. Yeah. Well, so beyond the birds, though, what about small mammals or baby mammals? How should we help those?
Yeah, that's kind of sad too. But there's a really good, I got a great story about that one. The hard part with baby mammals, let's just talk about bunnies, cottontails. We see tons of those all over the United States. Mostly rabbits, not all hares, but almost all rabbits will actually have a nest that the mother leaves during the day. She is gone, but she's watching from a bush or from cover somewhere. So those babies are in that nest and they're in the lawn. They're in our backyards. They're in fields, just really be be careful with that lawnmower, honestly, because there could be a clutch of babies in that nest. Mom is over in the bushes. Oh, you know what I'm talking about, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know. Was there? I hope blood wasn't involved.
It was a couple years ago, and I wasn't paying attention. Luckily, they were deeper inside the hole.
Yeah.
But I happened to notice it, and I'm like, wow, because you know how the blades could suck something up. So, which actually brings me to this question. Will any local humane society take in these wild babies, or how can viewers find where to take the animals that are in need of care?
Yeah, that's good. We're lucky here in San Diego because we have such a robust wildlife program that we can help people with wildlife. But in most areas of the country, unfortunately, there aren't those programs. There's only, there are a few, but it's not plentiful like a humane society or a veterinarian. So most humane societies will not take wildlife, and they can't because they need a special license to do so. Some will, but what all humane societies should do is give you that information to contact the nearest wildlife rehabilitator near you. And they're everywhere, but not in the numbers that we want. So we really just check websites, Google wildlife. If you find an injured or orphaned wild animal, Google it, and you can actually get information on the closest place to bring that animal. And more importantly, from what we've been talking about, when not to pick that animal up and bring it in. Just let nature take its course, and that bird will learn to fly and have a wonderful life.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to be rude guests here, so how can our viewers help out with the wildlife baby shower?
Oh, honestly, I'm supposed to really plug my organization, San Diego Humane. Obviously, we want to do that. We have a wildlife baby shower right now. You can go to sthumane.org /baby shower, and there's a whole lot of things from food for animals to warming incubators and all sorts of things. You can go on Amazon or Target to do that. But everywhere else in the United States too, if you want to support wildlife, find your nearest wildlife rehabilitation organization and donate to them as well, because they all need it very badly. And we prize these animals, and we really want to keep it going. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Gary Weitzman. Great to have him back.
Don't prune the trees until the fall.
Try.
So no spring cleaning. That's good to know. Good to know. Well, let's stick with the good feelings here and move on to our next story. Coming up next, we're going to meet a very inspiring Las Vegas attorney. You don't want to miss this.
Hey, welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, we are celebrating Black History Month, and while it's wonderful and necessary to look back at all the contributions that Black Americans have made in our history, we also are celebrating African Americans who are contributing to our communities right now.
Yes, and the here and the now. And one of those people is attorney Stephen Nwogbe, who's making a big impact on his hometown of Las Vegas. Take a look at this.
Black history represents integrity, character, strength, dependency, leadership, so many things. I am attorney Stephen Nwogbe. I'm the owner and managing attorney of Nwogbe Law Group. We are a personal injury law firm here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Growing up, I never saw a lot of Black attorneys. It just wasn't something that you normally saw. As an attorney now and as an adult male, I understand the significance and the importance of being a beacon of hope. My inspiration for becoming a lawyer was I wanted to be the first lawyer in my family. That's one thing, and I accomplished that. I also wanted to make sure that I entered into a career field that would allow me to work directly with people in an impactful, life-changing way. My journey to becoming an attorney was inspired by a number of individuals. I have family members, friends, loved ones, educators, all kind of people that inspired me. A few notable inspirations to me were my father, who fought in the Biafran Civil War in Nigeria prior to immigrating to the United States. I watched him go, respectfully from being a poor immigrant to having a successful career as an engineer for the past 30 plus years up to his retirement last year. Another individual that has really inspired my journey is my grandfather, Nathaniel Collins. He moved here to Las Vegas from Arkansas around the 1940s, 1950s. And as you know, in that time, Las Vegas was segregated. So I myself, as well as my law firm, we do a lot of work in our community, and we give back to our community in a number of ways. We regularly sponsor and support a number of youth sports organizations here in Las Vegas, sponsor and provide scholarship opportunities to law school students. When I mentor young Black children or the Black youth here in our community, there's some key lessons that I want them to take away from that mentorship. And those things are, I want them to be confident, I want them to be well-grounded, I want them to understand that they will grow up in a society that will demand more of them than their peers. I want them to know that they'll have to work twice as hard to become successful. I want people to know and understand that Black history is not only for Black people. Black history is American history, and Black history should be celebrated year-round. We can't erase the history of our nation, but what we can do is we can celebrate and recognize and appreciate those who have suffered unspeakable atrocities and struggled to gain equal footing on this land.
Wow, Danielle, I have to say, I like that he set out to be the first in his family to become a lawyer, and then he did it. And also when he reminds us that Black history is American history as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So important. And to me, all the stories he told about his family too is so inspiring. And I think it's really important to see representation. Like he said, he didn't see a lot of Black lawyers, and so he became that thing. And now he's mentoring people and paying that forward. So I just think that's so important.
Very important, and very inspiring. And you can find more information about Stephen and the services his law offices provides at their website, NwogbeLaw.com.
That's right. But don't go anywhere, because next on Main Street Living, we're going to talk about some money saving tips. We all need those. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Now, Quincy, with inflation and interest rates on the rise, unfortunately, we're all looking for ways to save money this year, or just to make the money we do have stretch a little bit further.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true, as a matter of fact. As a homeowner myself.
More true than I'd like to admit.
Right. And our next guest, he's an expert on this topic and has some helpful tips for us. Welcome, Derek Kinney, to the show. How you doing, Derek?
Hey, great to be with you both. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. I love the shirt. I like that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. So we all know that paying interest can slow down the financial process, but what are some strategies to pay down debt in 2022?
One of the biggest ways is to keep it super simple. So many times I hear people say, look, I want to pay down the highest dollar amount debt first, because it makes them feel like they're nailing really that larger, bigger debt. However, that could not be the worst possible example somebody could take. What you want to do is pay down the highest interest rate first. In other words, where is your biggest financial pain point and what's costing you the most money? Start there. It may be a big amount or a small amount, but the bottom line is that interest rate is costing you money and keeping you from achieving the goals you want this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, something for me specifically also, and I'm sure for a lot of people, when it comes to money, small things can just add up, and sometimes you forget what you're even subscribed to or what you're paying for. So what are some tips for saving a little bit just here and there, and having that really make a difference in what we spend?
I'll give you an example many people can relate to. I call it the aisle of temptation. Go to your favorite retail store and you go there to buy one item, and you wind through this whole channel of chips and drinks and gift cards and electronics, and suddenly you spend $50. That's just one example of how the retail world knows they can tap into your easily temptable wallet. But what we're talking about here is, think about the subscription services you subscribe to. Think about your insurances, homeowners, automobile, renters insurance, even your cable company. Here in Texas, it's our electricity provider. You want to call all of those people today and say, look, I'm considering changing. Is there a new customer special? Is there a deal you've got to keep my business? And then the magic is you want to take that savings and you want to put it automatically toward your number one debt, the highest interest rate. That way you have something to show for what you've just saved.
Wow.
Now, that's the information that I think was holding me back right there. That's what's going on. And and another thing too, like some of our monthly bills, like electricity, insurance, those seem to be set, right? But from what I understand, you believe that we should check in on that and also see if we can get a better deal. Like, how do we do that?
Yeah, and the best way to do that is you want to make the call, because even I got a call just the other day directly from DirecTV saying, look, we've got a deal for you to keep you as a customer. So believe me, companies are on to what I'm talking about. You have to take the effort, though, to save money. But here's what most people do. They do find the way to save money. The problem is then they spend it. That's when they've got the new computer, the new truck on the curb. You then want to do what I call capture and keep. Capture the money, but then keep it and actually make progress towards your goal. As an example, I use this method to shave off about 5 years of my house payment about 10 years ago. I went through all my expenses and I found ways to save it, because the temptation is when the end of the month comes, when your friends call and say, hey, you want to go out and party today? That's going to be much more fun to do than save for retirement or pay off that debt.
Well, that's easy. I don't have any friends, so.
Okay.
Yeah, not allowed to go anywhere. I would love to get your thoughts too, because I know for some people it's possible for them to refinance their mortgage. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, right now is a great time to refinance. The key, though, is you want to talk to the company where you currently have your mortgage. They have the vested interest in keeping you as a customer. You want to ask them, can you cut back on my fees? Can you save me at least 0.5% interest? The bottom line is you want to make sure that you're saving money. And how long will it cost to break even for those refinance costs? And ideally, what you want to do is you want to take that 30-year note and trim it back to maybe 20 years or 15 years. That way, you're really making a major impact in your debt. I want 2022 to be the year that you made a couple simple decisions, but you made some powerful money moves in really cracking down on your debt.
Wow. Now, here's the big question. Okay, we all had this pandemic check that came through, right? But people are working, so you may get a bonus check. So what are some really quick tips on how to put that to use for ourselves?
Well, I like to say you want to be the CEO of your money. Think about if you owned a company and you never told your employees what to do. They'd be in the break room, they'd be dozing off, they'd be leaving early. So many people treat their dollar bills the same way. You want to make sure, because you worked hard for the money, even if you're getting the money in a stimulus check, have a plan for the money before the money arrives. You want to know that X amount goes to pay off this debt. X amount goes to put toward my retirement. X amount goes toward my saving, and X amount does go toward fun, because we know psychologically, if there's no fun money set aside, that leads to major unplanned expenses, which can really cost you. If you plan for the splurge, you're much less likely to cost you debt-wise down the road.
Wow.
Wow, that's been my problem with splurging. Okay. Well, you've also written a book, obviously, called Good Money Revolution, and you also host the Good Money podcast. So how can viewers hear more of your thoughts on money and find your book?
Well, my goal is to make money easy. So many people make money way too complicated. Look, money is a game, and I want to give you the tools to win. You can listen to us on the Good Money podcast. Also, would love to have you check out the book at goodmoneyrevolutionbook.com or go to goodmoneyframework.com. That's all the good money movement and how you can be a part of it.
Awesome.
Thanks
awesome.
so much, Derek.
Yeah, certainly appreciate you, man.
Hey, my pleasure. Great to be with you both.
No problem. Now, what I need to understand is how can I find that shirt and save some money? That look like
Yeah, we need a discount code.
All right. Well, now, Danielle, now that we have a better understanding how to use our money, up next, we have some helpful mortgage advice. But this is in plain English, which is helpful to me. We'll be right back.
Spoon feed it to me. back into Main Street living, Quincy, buying a house, huge undertaking. Not only are you choosing the place where you will live, but a house is usually the largest financial investment most people ever make.
Yeah, you got that right, Danielle. In fact, it can be also like this very confusing and with different mortgage options, rates, and terms, and with so many choices, it's very hard to know what to do, of course. And our next guest is a mortgage expert here to help all of this make sense. Please welcome the past president of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers, John Stevens. Welcome to the show, John.
Oh, thank you, Quincy. Thank you, Danielle. So excited to be here today.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm a little parched. Can I get a Coca-Cola from behind?
You know what? I think you could from almost any era from the looks of it. So it's fun.
Well, you know, I can tell you the real estate market, John, is red hot right now.
Yeah.
And it really seems like everyone is trying to get in while the rates are low. But what are some of the things potential home buyers should keep in mind as they're looking for the best deal out there?
You know, really what they need to be looking at is it's not just the rate. It's not just, you know, being able to go out and say, oh, I have this rate that's at this number. It's what's best for you. What loan is best suited for your financial freedom, really? You know, people want a lower rate, and oftentimes those come with, say, a 15-year fixed loan. Well, is a 15-year or 10-year best for you? Or is your long-term, do you need to be looking at a 30-year so it opens up some more avenues for you to do other things? And so working with an expert, working with someone who actually understands the big picture is the best thing any homeowner can do.
So it kind of seems like what you're saying. I mean, there's so many options with mortgages. There's not one single best one, is there? It really varies.
No, it really does vary, you know, depending on what you're trying to do with your finances. And that's the beauty of working with an expert is they can go through and talk with them and find out exactly what is it that you're trying to accomplish. And so, I mean, you can do everything from a 5-year, right, that then changes over after 5 years. You can do a 30-year. There's even 40-year loans out there if you need to stretch the financing like that. And so with every option, it's kind of like go to Baskin Robbins, right? Nice little plug there. And as you choose all the different ice creams, sometimes you just want to know what's your favorite. What do you think I should get based on today? And then that expert, they'll give you their advice and counsel, and then you'll still choose what you feel is best for you.
Okay. So John, you are the president of SRE.com. Okay. First, like, what does the SRE mean, and how does SRE help customers with their home buying experience?
No, thank you. Yeah, SRE.com. It really is just that, SRE.com. And we're a tech company. So people come into there, and I'd recommend everybody watching, go in there and look at it. And we have compiled a list of what we call SRE professional experts. These are loan originators who are licensed, they're educated, and from many different lenders across the nation. And so what happens is you'll go in and you'll put in your information, and then you'll have an SPE that is best suited to you, assigned to you, and they'll reach out to you and they'll talk exactly like we just talked about. They'll ask you, okay, Quincy, what is it that you're looking at doing? What kind of a home are you looking for? Because even the home type will determine the kind of financing you can get. You know, Danielle, are you wanting that really nice one by the beach? Well, we're going to have to make sure that we get flood insurance. Do you want to be up in the mountains? Okay, we might have to look at some earthquake, right? Little things like that. And so by coming to SRE.com, you'll notice that we have those experts, but even cooler, and this is what I want to share with you. Every single person who goes through and does that loan with one of our SPEs actually receives a 20% rebate on the commissions paid. So now you're not house poor, right? You want to go out and do fun stuff. A lot of people can't do that after they close a loan because all their money's been taken up. But with that rebate,
all house parties.
Oh my gosh, right? You're like, yeah, I'd love to have everybody over. Why don't you bring food? You bring a couch, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I want to make sure we ask you as well. So can you kind of explain what a mortgage broker does for people who might not know?
Absolutely. So a mortgage broker, they go out there and they work with all different types of lenders, warehouse lenders, options that they can get, as opposed to an individual loan officer who just offers the one rate that is available through their company. And so when I was president of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers, that's something I was constantly sharing with everybody. Make sure you go to that avenue that gives you the most options available. And that's what a mortgage broker does. And then by coming to SRE.com, you're able to find not just one, but multiple lenders, multiple brokers, individuals who are licensed and educated and able to go through and find what's really, like we say there, best suited to you.
Got you. What do you find is the biggest pitfall for current and future homeowners? Like if they think they have it and then they miss, like, there's usually something at both ends of the spectrum. They miss something. What is that?
So at the end of the day, when you're buying that home, it's really exciting, right? And you look at that rate, and oftentimes it's called APR, annual percentage rate. I remember the first time I signed on my home, I was, holy cow, after paying all this interest and the APR, that's not the rate I agreed to. That's not the interest I agreed to. And so realizing that that interest does add up over time. If you're wrapping your closing costs into your loan, then your APR does go up. So when you look at SRE.com, we have one of the rates. We have rates as low as 1.55% APR. That means your rate doesn't go up due to closing costs. That is the actual rate when you sign, 1.55%. And so be looking at that, because a lot of people can offer you a better rate, but are you buying it down? So the APR goes up, which means you're paying more money over time.
Wow.
Thank
Well,
you for
obviously a lot of great resources on SRE.com. So where are SRE services available, and how can viewers get more tips from you or find more info about SRE?
So the beauty is you can go to SRE.com. I love that. Obviously, they need to be continuing to watch your show, because I'm so excited we'll be back multiple times. So that would be what your viewers need to do. Right now, we are in California and Utah specifically doing our marketing and advertising, but we have SPEs nationwide. Our marketing will actually launch next year nationwide as well. So anything we can do, we can recommend you to a great SPE.
Awesome.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
so
We look
much.
forward to having you back on too.
Yeah.
Me too. You guys
Yep.
are awesome.
A lot of fun. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the information again, John.
Anytime.
All right, Danielle, how's that for helpful info, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, up next, we're getting some more info because we're previewing Black History Month programming on Your View. So we'll be right back with more. Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, you probably already know there's lots of ways to participate in Black History Month. You can support a Black-owned business or restaurant. You can enjoy something from a Black author or artist, or just make a little time to learn something about the experience of the African Americans through our history. And
Yeah,
today.
that absolutely is such a good use there, just spending some time learning, right? And Your View is actually providing a wide range of programming in honor of Black History Month, which is guaranteed to give you new insights, including this incredible series about remarkable Black athletes called The Rising. You know that I work in sports when I'm not on Main Street Living. I love this series. Check this out.
But what I'm doing is legal. This is why I believe I'll receive justice in the higher court.
Used to hit more to right and right center than the left. Oh, it is good! He did it! He did it!
It doesn't matter what your background is and where you come from. If you have dreams and you have goals, and that's all that really matters.
But there's only one Usain Bolt.
I owe a lot to Charlie.
A freedom of expression that the entire world could see.
When you Black, it's not a movement, it's a lifestyle. This is who we are.
Quincy, what do you think of that? It's not a movement, it's a lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah, like I love watching programming like this, and also to see how people who look like me have overcome the, things to be considered the greats,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can all relate to sports in some way. So that's always really interesting to watch as well. And you can find descriptions of all of the programming Your View will be featuring for Black History Month on our website, yourview.com. But don't go anywhere, because straight ahead, we have more Main Street Living. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quincy, a lot of great packages today, especially celebrating Black History Month. And we look forward to doing that next week as well. So make sure you tune in.
Oh yeah, so many things to unpack. It's so many things to look out for. And of course, you know, it's not just Black history, it's American history. Okay. So if you missed this episode or any of the other ones, always catch us on our Cox Contour app as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sign in, search for Your View. It's right in there.
Yeah. And also be sure to check your cable guides for multiple air times, starting with every new episode on Mondays at 9 p.m. local time. And that does it for us. Cheryl, we miss you. We'll see you next week. We're not strolling down Main Street. We are Main Street. We'll see you.